Let's move to this story now, and it's the bail application of double murder accused Mpumalanga Agricultural MEC Mandla Msibi and his co-accused. They are going to resume that bail application in the Nelspruit Magistrates Court tomorrow. The court heard from an eyewitness today who corroborated the MEC's version that he was inside a restaurant at the time of the shooting. 2 people killed, 1 wounded in the attack in August. Now reporter Linda Kuhlikulu been following the story and joins us now. Good evening, Linda. When we spoke to you yesterday, of course, you were not able to reveal the name of the Mpumalanga MEC, but he has now, of course, appeared in court, so we can name him. What is his version of events on what happened that night in August?
Well, Mandla Msibi, Sally, as we can rightfully name him, has appeared. We understand that today is the second time he appears in court. Yesterday he appeared at around 4:30 together with his 2 co-accused after they handed themselves over to the police. This is in connection with that murder case that involves 2 people that have since passed away and 1 person that we understand was critically injured after a shootout outside a restaurant. But today we understood from a number of statements, a number of affidavits from eyewitnesses who say that one of them is a manager at that particular restaurant where they were. One of them is a cashier. One of them is his PA, as well as the 2 gentlemen that he's been arrested with. So essentially all of these affidavits, all of these statements are saying that the MEC was in fact inside the restaurant. He was getting meat for members of the Provincial Executive Committee that were busy the whole day on that particular day with the finalization of a candidate list for Mpumalanga candidates towards the local government elections. What we understand is that he in fact had gunshots together with the people he was with while they were inside the restaurant, and then he was taken into one of the VIP rooms inside that particular restaurant. And what we understand is that after they cleared that to be safe for him to leave, he was then whisked away by his security as well as his PA and other people that were with him. So that is his own version of events. Several affidavits that are supporting that and corroborating his story. But let's take a listen to one of them that his lawyer went through it when he was reading it in front of the magistrate today.
At approximately 21:20, the persons who ordered the meat arrived, and I saw that it was the MEC, Mr. Mandla Msibi, who is a known patron at our restaurant. He was in the company of 4 persons, and I know one of them who is his PA, Mr. Buddha. We were almost done with the packing of the meat, and they were standing at the counter inside the restaurant, busy counting money to pay the cashier, Ms. Ndile Koza. There were still several other people in the restaurant, with some busy leaving as they knew we had to close. Normally at closing time, there are also many people in the street. The next moment I heard very loud bangs of gunshots outside the restaurant. Upon this, the 1 person who was in the company of Mr. Msibi immediately pushed him into an adjacent room, which is our VIP room, and they remained inside that room while I was standing still at the counter a few meters away from where they were. Several further gunshots followed outside the building. I was only able to hear the shots and did not see who or what was firing. After the gunfire stopped, people were running around, shouting and screaming outside in the street. The person who was with Mr. Msibi and pushing him earlier on came to the front, peeped outside, where after he went back, called Mr. Msibi and the other 3 companions, paid for the meat, which they took and left immediately. I was on the inside of the restaurant when the shooting took place and in the presence of Mr. Msibi and his companions. I don't know who was firing the shots on the outside of the building in the street and at what or at who the shots were fired. I also don't know what the cause or reason for this was and who the people were that were shouting and screaming in the street. During the time of the shots being fired, Mr. Msibi and his companions were in my personal presence inside the building and obviously could not have been part of the incident that happened on the outside.
So, Linda, this is astonishing, really, because what the MEC is saying is that he had absolutely nothing to do with this. He was merely picking up takeaways for his colleagues who were working one evening. They heard gunshots outside. He was bundled into a room until it was safe, and once it was safe, he left. It almost beggars belief that it would have got to this point in any sort of criminal proceeding where an arrest is made, because you don't make an arrest without a fairly strong suspicion. Has there been any response at all from the state to understand what their case might be?
We haven't been able to speak to the National Prosecuting Authority's spokesperson in Mpumalanga. She did join us eventually after several attempts of trying to speak to her in court. But even after that, she has then since went into the prosecutor's office in one of the offices here at court. But what is expected tomorrow, which I think will be key in terms of why is it exactly that the MEC was arrested because of this, when his version of events says that he was whisked away into a VIP room until it was safe, is that the state tomorrow will be making its case. They did ask for a postponement because of how late it is today, but the state will be making its case tomorrow in terms of why they believe that Ubabumnisi should not be given bail. With that comes the details of why is it they allege that he was involved in that shooting that claimed the life of 2 people as well as 1 person who was left injured. But there was also a witness who was told to say, or asked rather to say, are you able to come to the court tomorrow? This person is a witness of the state, and we're expecting to hear perhaps some details around why the state has a witness contrary that will probably contradict the story of the MEC. But at this stage, we are not clearer in terms of why is it that the MEC was arrested, following several eyewitnesses that are saying that he was simply put away or tucked away into a room until it was safe and then he was taken away. So we are to hear that, and tomorrow will be interesting in that aspect, Sally.
Yes, it absolutely will be. And in the meantime, has there been any further response from the ANC in Mpumalanga, or in fact from the Premier? She did say they would be meeting, but clearly this bail process is still underway. So has there been any change in position, any further statements from the ANC in this regard?
It's a story that keeps giving, Sally, because the latest developments from the Premier's office, Refilem Tsipane, is that they will be holding a meeting, they said, in the next 2 to 3 hours. So it seems that on their side, they have also accelerated the proceedings of meeting and all of that. So we're expecting that at around 7 to 8, there will be a briefing from the Premier's office. And when we asked as to what exactly is this briefing about, they said there's only one thing that this province is talking about at the moment, and we're assuming that this is the case that they'll be speaking about. We asked the Premier yesterday whether Mandla Msibi will be expected to step aside, will be announced to step aside or not, and they said that they still needed to meet, but it seems that now they are able to give us clarity in terms of that. But earlier on, there were a number of people outside here in the ANC T-shirts that were supporting Mandla Msibi. That is, they're saying that they are from his ward in Pinar, in Ward 2. So what they are saying from their side is that they believe that this is politically motivated. They believe that the story is clear-cut and that the MEC had nothing to do with this particular thing, and that those who are behind this are those with political motivation or political gain that they want to gain from this process of defaming the MEC. So at this stage, we're expecting that in about 2 hours' time, we will be hearing from the Premier's office as to what exactly are they saying about the developments in court today.
It's completely fascinating, and it'll be very interesting to hear what the state has to say tomorrow in this regard. Thank you so much for that update, eNCA's Linda Kuhle, telling us about the bail application of the MEC for Agriculture in Mpumalanga. Mandla Msibi saying he had absolutely nothing to do with that shooting. It happened outside while he was inside. So claiming as well, his supporters claiming that there's a political motive behind his arrest. Let's move